Doing the thumb thing today. Hey everybody, welcome to the Adept Icarus YouTube channel. I am Will Munn. I am the Adept Icarus person, as my placard so clearly states. And we are here today to build a realm together for Vi, the upcoming TTRPG that uses dice and tarot cards to create an experience that we hope is super fun, very collaborative, lots of neat ways to sort of interact with characters who are very different, come from extremely different backgrounds. But I'm going to be joined by some guests today. Some of them you'll recognize, some of them you may not. But I'm super excited about these folks. So hopefully you'll join me in welcoming them in the chat. If you're here, please, say hi, contribute, have a good time, like the video, all that kind of crap. But first off, I'm going to join with the one, the only, the person who is co-designing Vi with me, Earhart.
That's me. I'm the designer type pal, as you can see that my placard says here.
Mm-hmm.
My name is M. Earhart. I am a TTRPG content creator and a game designer. I am trying to currently be on the world leaderboard for this puzzle game app that I've just been absolutely obsessed with. And we'll see. I just recently broke into the 6,000s worldwide, but we'll see what happens with that.
Excellent. Thanks for joining me again. Always fun to work on these together. I really like it.
Me too.
Okay, well, now I'm going to share with you the artist, the person who is going to do the amazing tarot card for the High Priestess. I'm so excited. Let's see, how was I? Well, maybe I'll ask. I'm going to bring him on. Welcome, Aaron Radney. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, folks. Great to be here. And in case you were trying to remember, Will, we were introduced through mutual friends of ours, another game designer I got to work with, Will and Jess from The Means of Magic.
Yeah.
Yes. My name is Aaron. I am a fantasy illustrator. I've gotten a chance to work on a few different TTRPG things. You might know me from hanging around in that sphere. I've gotten to do art for Backwards, which is a Southern Gothic post-apocalyptic Americana TTRPG.
So cool.
They're awesome. I was the art director for Means and Magic. I've also gotten to do artwork for the Wagadu Chronicles and Into the Motherlands, which are hopefully going to be coming out sooner rather than later. I got my start kind of as a fan artist for Critical Role. I got noticed in the space because some of the fan art I did showed up in a couple of their their interlude streams, and that kind of
really
led
cool
to everything that has happened in the last 3 or 4, 5 years. But yeah, I'm really excited to get a chance to do this and to do some collaborative world building. I love it. And this will be one of the first time I've gotten to do it in a while with somebody other than my patrons. So that's awesome. You can find me online pretty much anywhere you can type my name. Twitter and Patreon and Blue Sky are some of the best places to do that. You can find me at Aaron Radney in a bunch of different places.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited to build this
too.
world together. It's going to be amazing. And then also we have a second guest, I guess a third guest technically. You're a guest. You get to be a guest.
I'm a guest?
That's nice.
I thought I was core cast.
Yeah, well, kind of you are. Yeah, you're definitely core cast for this series. So second guest, Erika, I'm going to bring you on. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Super excited for you to be here.
Hi, excuse me. I'm Erika Kuta Marler. I'm a writer. I absolutely adore just basically everything about the system. And let's see. I've played with M over the years. I've done different things with Will. This is my first time getting to be on a stream with Aaron, so that's super exciting. I love my TTRPGs and I love my books. And so if you want book suggestions, I am a person to talk to, and I write my own stories as I can. And yeah, That's about it for me. Oh, you can find me here, there, and everywhere on the internet, Kuta Marler, and I'll show up in one way or another.
Yeah, this is also perfect book recommendation stream because my day job is working in a library.
Oh wow!
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, you're my hero.
That was my first like profession I really wanted, was to work in a library when I was a kid. Wow. I'm
If I'm not
jealous.
mistaken, it's National Library Week. So thank you for being awesome. At least that's what some of my social media has said. And just,
Yeah.
I know in high school, the librarians absolutely just looked out for me and were the best. Like the library was the safe space. Like if I needed somewhere to go and be happy, I could just go into the library, disappear into one of those books, and be in another world and be completely okay.
Mhm.
So.
Me too. But I will say, fun fact. Technically, I am not a librarian. I am a library assistant. I do not have the Masters of Library Science that would be required to officially be a librarian.
Mhm.
I do not need the library mafia being mad that I am representing myself as something I'm not.
Ooh, yeah, be careful.
Yeah.
What does the library mafia do to you when you go outside your?
You can't talk about that on YouTube.
We can't violate the service agreements.
Yeah.
We don't want you to lose your channel.
There you go. You can't have that discussion on YouTube.
Okay. Cool. Well, man, this is going to be so great. I'm very excited for everybody to be here. I think I've said that at least 7 times. That's what we aim for here. 7 times excited every session. No, I'm just kidding. So we're going to work on a new realm for Vi the Ancestrals. It's not actually, we're playing with the name. Anyway, Vi, it's a TTRPG. We did one of these really recently where we built out one that kind of already had a core concept that Em and I had put together a long time ago as part of like our original set of realms that we had created for playtesting, and really added a lot of depth and character, I think, to that realm through this process. But this time we don't have anything really to start from other than the High Priestess tarot card. So this is kind of like a blank slate. So what do y'all think? Should I bring up the mirror board and show folks what we're looking at?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's make that happen.
Let's make that happen. All right. Here we are. This is like all the things that we have done this world building process on so far. And today we're going to zoom right in over here on the High Priestess section. We have some beautiful examples of some High Priestess tarot cards from different sets that we found online to share here today. We certainly don't have the copyright for any of these, so I could go look them up and find out where they're from. Buy these decks, I don't know. Anyway, so Arium Create, the first thing we usually do is we talk about what isn't in this world. And that is kind of the first focus before we get into what is in the world. And it kind of, it breeds a little creativity. It helps us put some constraints in place that might help us, create something interesting that maybe someone's never thought of before. But also it helps us from a safety aspect. So we're going to avoid like various, isms and things like that. We are going to avoid other people's intellectual property because we intend to publish this game. And then we also have 6 other areas that we're going to try and avoid because we already have really strong themes around these in other realms for Vi. So we've got cyberpunk, seafaring, gothic horror, demons, Arthurian nobility, and solarpunk. So we need to avoid those. Now, together as a group, we'll spend a little bit of time, and there are some sticky notes just above the section for the lacunae here for step 0, that we can go and take some of them and write our own items that we think we want to make sure aren't in this realm that we're creating here today. You can do that very much so for safety reasons if that's something that you have something you just want to, like, I don't want to be near this. I don't want to think about this, right? Let's keep away from it. That's good. And then we can also use it to help constrain and force us to find a way around something. That's also a very interesting way to do that. Sometimes we come up with great stuff with that. Sometimes we don't. but let's give it a shot. Everybody feel good about putting down some lacunae?
Yep,
Think
I'm
so.
ready.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to set a little timer for us. We'll just, I don't know, what do you think? Like 2 minutes? Put down a few of these?
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna
Let's
pull
do
mine
it.
right down here on this board.
You should hear a pleasant tone when the timer actually ends. We'll see.
That might be a bit of a no-brainer, but I just
Like anything
like-
that makes the
Yeah.
game better. That's totally good.
Yeah.
You and I are on this. You and I are on the same. We're on the same page. I was literally trying to figure out a way to write that one without necessarily.
Yeah. I'm
I have to admit,
Perfect.
I'm just kind of like, I'm just going to be out and say it because I'd rather
Yeah.
just not.
Mhm.
So, I don't have a lot that I'm not okay with. That's the thing.
Mhm.
So
Same.
what's something that just makes the world more interesting? Like, for example, one time we had like, you can't have color in the world, so everything's like grayscale. You can do something that just like sparks creativity in a specific direction just by making it not available.
Okay, I know one.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, love that one.
Oh, that's a good
Mm.
call, especially with High Priestess. That makes it hard.
So yeah, like I like the idea that if this is a high fantasy world, we've got elves and dwarves and half humans and all these things are very classical,
mhm.
very very classical high fantasy. I
Mhm.
think taking that away as a tool could lead to some interesting ideas.
See, we could also ban high fantasy if we wanted to.
If we
As you
wanted
should.
to, though, I kind of don't want to.
That's
Yeah,
totally
yeah, let's ask the high fantasy artist to ban high fantasy.
Ah.
I'll behave.
I have completely lost all other ideas, so I'm going to take this out.
Oh.
You
All
feel free to
right.
finish one if you're already working on it,
Yeah, if
or we
you're-
can.
If you're working on it, that's great. So, and we're going to talk through these, right? I mean, some of them are just kind of like this one. I'm just going to say, yep, that's a big old yep, right? And
Thanks,
then
appreciate it.
I'm going to group those ones together. We've got no demi-humans. We've got, I don't know. I started with no rain, then I went to no desert, and then I went to no
And now we have
dessert.
no dessert.
Yeah, now you can't have dessert. Yeah.
No
My
so-
sweets.
I know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna I don't know. I'm gonna make a case for it. Like, what if people from here don't have sweets? And and
I have an
what would that mean if they ever did get access to sweets? You know what I
I
mean?
actually have an idea about that, and
Yeah.
we might come. And I don't know when coming to that would be reasonable, but I have a thought
Yeah.
because it relates to something that I've been thinking about with the High Priestess, kind of in general here.
Sorry, Erica. I am covering your face to show this amazing and wonderful comment that I really loved from the chat.
Oh my!
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Now-
Paul's always here with the good puns.
yes.
Yeah. Now with dessert,
Yes.
are we meaning like all sugary things? So like we can't mention fruit, or is just this like
What if we just explicitly say that?
Sweets. Okay. No
That works.
candy, no
Yeah.
cake, no
Yeah.
ice cream.
because there
Love
are
it.
places.
Like no artificial sweets. So like
Yeah,
or like no
basically.
no confections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
But I almost want to back you up on the no desert thing, Will, only because like I've been loving the Dune sequel, like the second Dune,
Yeah.
but also there's only so much desert magic I can take at the moment.
Also reasonable. And since the High Priestess has a lot of associations with water,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that kind of works then. Yeah.
Yeah. We can put those together. I'm good with that. I love the no demi-humans. I'm actually I'm kind of over demi-humans in a lot of ways, but yeah.
But they can have their time somewhere down the road. Like
Agreed.
the
We
great
have
thing about
22
stories is
realms.
Yeah, there are 22 realms. Surely there will be some demi-humans somewhere. Actually,
Yeah.
I think there already are.
Our archetypes, they cycle. It's what they do.
Very true.
Well, should we move on to Universal then?
Sure.
I think we can. Yeah. Let's
Cool.
go on to that. Would you like to introduce the themes from the cards, Em?
Yes, absolutely. So we took some of the keywords for the card and we put it in here. And we have both the upright and then the reverse. So because we have rising and falling ages in these realms. So you can kind of keep in mind the duality from when we're creating this. On the upright side, we have secrets, mystery, the future as yet unrevealed, silence, tenacity, mystery, wisdom, and science, which is really interesting on how we're going to make those keywords kind of flavor into the realm somehow.
Mhm.
And then we also have, on the flip side, passion, moral or physical ardor, conceit, and surface knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was researching for these, like all that stuff has been buzzing around in my head since you guys kind of brought the idea up with me.
Nice. And then as far as like this section where we're going to be throwing ideas down, we want to make sure that we're staying like as broad as possible. We're going to be looking at genre, like the flavor of the world or tone. So you could say noir and then also end of the world, apocalyptic, whatever you want. It's just going to be super broad, not drilling down to too much details. And we're going to start getting onto the same page as how we want the world to feel.
Yeah.
So like high fantasy could be a card.
Right.
Sure. And tone can fit into this really well too. Like you could say, hey, I want it to be really dark and mysterious, or I want it to be really lighthearted and fun, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we'll put these ones down, and unlike what we did with Lacuni, we're actually going to talk about them, maybe combine some of them, and then we will vote, right? And whatever we vote on ends up being the thing that we're going to continue with as we continue the process.
Okay.
How much time do we get this time, Will?
3 minutes, you think?
3?
2?
All right.
2 or 3?
Let's do 3 since it's the first one where we're coming up with ideas, maybe.
Okay, let's do it.
Also, Cold, who's in chat, if you have any ideas, feel free to jot them down and then I will put them in for you. Oh, what is this? Something I'm trying to think of. I might have been wrong about 3 minutes, Will. Look how many ideas we have on the board.
I know, it's a lot.
I'm going to start organizing. I'm just going to start making more space.
Yeah.
Okay, we have more room.
That's good.
Ooh.
Okay, if you're still typing, go ahead and finish.
Okay.
All
Ooh.
right. Usually
Okay.
we like to take turns and have folks read at different stages along the way. One thing also that we'll do is we'll kind of group things as we go. If we see a couple things that are very, very similar, we'll try and put them together just because they're similar. But we can talk about that after we go through and read them all as well. The other thing that, like, there's another reason why we'll combine things, and we talk about that in a minute, but let's start with just reviewing everything that's here, reading them, and let's see. I don't know. Anybody want to volunteer to read the first round?
I can do the first round.
You want to do it? All right.
Okay. And I might pause on some of these and have people like expound on them.
Hmm.
And normally I start at the top, but I'm going to start at the bottom this time. So when something is wrong with the whole world, turns gray, emotionless landscapes. Emotional landscapes. That's cool.
Mhm.
Anything you want to add to that?
So it's kind of like if everybody's happy, then you get that very kind of happy feeling. Like there's certain fine art museums you walk in and you go, wow, this artist was in a good place when they did this painting. I like this just very broad idea of the overall vibe in the community physically reflects in the landscape around you.
I love that. Okay.
So that's what I meant by emotional landscapes. But I was like, I have to give some sort of example, which is why, something's wrong. It looks weird out. You can literally see the vibe check is the idea.
We have magic access through what you consume. You are what you eat to the max. Fae influence plus marriage to temperance. Let me go ahead and just like explain that a little bit more. I don't know if this really fits in the world we want to do, but it was a concept I have. We have a solar punk world based off of temperance, where they're all about like living in harmony with nature, and they have these henges that has Fae influence come through. So I had a vague idea where we could, if we wanted to, make this the Fae realm that people could enter through the temperance world. That's a possibility.
If we did do something like that, I think, we could make the same case for the Arthurian realm.
Oh, totally.
Which will have a Fae connection as well.
With the hermit. So yeah, definitely doesn't have to be this one.
Yeah, there is also an interesting thing where a lot of the High Priestess ones have pillars, so there's this kind of like gateway element.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yes, I love that. We also have the animals speak. Love that. A lighthearted realm. True soulmates, either being true love or platonic. Just somebody that you like can bond with and are immediately like that you're going to be good for life. Balance, being revered. That is kind of like one of the themes for the High Priestess, is like what you were saying, Aaron, with the pillars. I think one is like about strength, and then the other one is about like establishment. And I think that was kind of a cool, like you have to have both in order to succeed. And then we have lasting decisions or permanency. Ooh, Will, what were you thinking on that?
I was thinking that those are cool words that no one wrote yet.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I think, kind of the idea that maybe when you, like maybe things are binding here somehow, right? Like you say something and then that becomes a thing that must be, right? Or something along those lines.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We have courtly and courtly intrigue. So those seem to marry nicely. Unsettling and eerie knowledge. Do you want to talk about that for a second, Aaron?
Yes, actually. Some of this might come up more when we get to like the culture stuff. But one of the things I noticed when I was going through my research on the High Priestess was a lot of discussion about magic, seeing kind of, deep knowledge, spiritualism. There was a lot of elements of like religion and temples and scripture and all these things. And it got me thinking about ghosts and spirits.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna keep moving forward, but that is like a little thing that's permanently in my brain now. We have bright, colorful, reassuring, human versus nature. That's sick. Van Gogh era style imagery. Please tell me about that.
It links up more with the pastoral, which is the one just above it. That's also mine. There was a point where he was doing a lot of look at the farm fields, look at the. I've been looking at different classical artists, if you can't tell. So just those. When you look at the painting, you know what this is, but in many ways, at the same time, when you're looking at it, it's not a defined. This is exactly like this is the grain stock. It's like, no, this is the impression of the it's there and it's not. And so that's kind of that feeling, that phasing in and out feeling was kind of what I was meaning by that.
I love that.
The phasing in and out. I like that. Again, the kind of situation of like being between two realms. There's this liminal idea in what you're talking about. Yeah.
Not to bring up my all-time favorite Van Gogh painting, but Starry Night just basically has that. Is it day, is it night, and you're in both at the same time, and it's a really cool image to look at. So that's what I was thinking with that.
Next we have ordered. What did you mean by ordered? Like the world has a specific order to it?
Kind of. Like there was this idea that I was thinking about with this idea that there is a very strong element of structure to society. Like this idea where, like, again, this might play more into kind of like the cultural thing later on. But I like this idea where like there is again, when you've got that kind of balance thing and there is a natural order to the world, that certain things are supposed to behave in a certain way, and when they are not, and you know that things are out of balance when that is no longer the case.
I love that.
And
it's also very fun.
And then you have the question of, is that order just? Is that order a thing we should be striving to protect, or is it something we should be striving to dismantle? Like, I think order is important, but you also can't have it uncritically.
I like that a lot. We also have magic through study, spy fantasy, and irrational and random, which is the opposite of ordered. Survival against nature, analytical and rational, which kind of pairs together with that ordered a little bit.
And the study, I think.
Yeah. Prophetic, shamanistic, pastoral, which you already touched on, Erika. High fantasy. We love high fantasy. Arctic fantasy. I was just thinking that could be a twist on the normal fantasy of like this. Mother Nature is stronger than all, right? And so that brings like an interesting survival aspect to this magical world. Fae Noir, which is a really cool concept. And then I did Sky River Life a la Amazon. So I was watching this documentary where they were saying the biggest river in the world is actually in the sky, because it rains so hard on the Amazon, and then there's also high winds. And so there's actually a river that runs on the top of the trees, and it goes all the way across. And so I was thinking like sails on a river, and everyone has like these leaf boats or something. And that was just a random concept.
Is also painting a very specific picture. Again, kind of, I can see that being woven into some other ideas, like, again, that kind of ghost spirit liminal space thing. What if that is not necessarily a physical river, but a spiritual one?
Oh, that's cool.
What if that is an element of the afterlife in this world? What if the afterlife matters a lot in this universe? What if the afterlife and ghosts and spirits kind of have a strong tie here.
Well, let's combine some things, and then we can vote and see if that's like the cool thing that everyone wants to do.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think usually what we do now is we'll talk about these, and now anybody can propose combining two together, either because they're, you know, basically the same thing, and I think we should combine courtly and courtly intrigue.
Absolutely
Because
agree with that.
They're just basically the same thing, right? But then we also want to combine them together if they are just, we're really excited about the idea of them together. They are better together than they are apart.
Agreed.
No,
I really
no
like.
question.
I also kind of like the idea of combining those two, like human versus nature and survival against nature, with the Arctic fantasy.
Sure. I'm okay with doing that, but I
Yeah,
also
that
don't
works.
want, if people don't like the
Oh.
concept of Arctic fantasy, I don't want them to not be able to vote for survival against nature.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I think
fair
that
enough.
completely fits together. I don't know how many people are going to actually want to commit to Arctic fantasy.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Okay. But anyone like can propose, but the two people who made the ideas, or if there are more than two, if we're combining more than two, they just need to agree. That's the only requirement.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So I just need to.
I kind of like honestly, like I think the unsettling and eerie knowledge and sort of the ghostly things like that, it could go really well with something. I want it to go with something because I really like it. I'm wondering if it could go with courtly, if there's like a tie-in there, or maybe one with sort of the Fae influence and stuff. But just a thought.
Do we want to add like a spirit fantasy pile?
Yes.
I'm just gonna put it right over here. You know what I kind of like about the magic access through what you consume is, along with that spiritual fantasy vibe, is like the whole Persephone eating the pomegranate seed, and that gives you access to this realm of spirits and stuff.
Yeah.
And it fits in with the whole sweets thing. No
Yes.
sweets because you have to take this nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig that a lot.
And
Yeah. So I
also-
think like shamanistic and prophetic can go under spirit fantasy.
Is everyone okay with that if I combine these together?
do you mind if I add the animal speak to that?
I think that's actually
that
kind of a cool
pile?
concept.
Or just the animal speak by its own, or can it go with spirit fantasy?
That is Aaron's. So Aaron, you get to choose that one.
So that for me at least, there is an element of being like, that almost feels big enough for its own world. That almost feels big enough for its own card. But like talking animals is a trope in fantasy that goes back as far as Tolkien. People don't always think about that, but like the eagles would speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading Mercedes Lackey right now, and there are
Everybody talks.
everybody talks, but it's not necessarily physical talking. Mind speech is a thing. Spirit to spirit communication is a thing. Like I don't think it doesn't need to be
I have an idea. Maybe if you guys like it, we could combine soulmates with the animal speak, and you have like this other creature character thing that also helps you commune with the spirit world. If we wanted to do that,
I would say we might want to be careful about, if we do that, we want to be careful about the terms. I've seen way too many people kind of use this as a poor understanding of the ideas of spirit animals in indigenous American cultures.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you for calling that out. Absolutely. We can definitely steer clear of that.
It's possible, but also the nature, and depending on which group you're with, it gets misunderstood very quickly.
Yeah, let's be cautious of it then. How do you feel about Sky River being Spirit River and combining here?
I love that.
I like that a lot too.
I think that's really cool.
All right. What are other things that could be like a standalone concept then? A way if we decided not to vote for spirit fantasy, what's another concept?
So I've kind of thrown the pastoral, Van Gogh, all of that I was talking about, or like the emotions being reflected in the world around you, just kind of into this big lump down here.
I
also kind of like that idea of like lasting decisions and permanency kind of being connected with that idea. I'm not either that or with the courtly. Like, can you imagine in like a courtly intrigue or courtly romance situation where a vow is such a precious thing and has to be worded so carefully because it is binding.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
It's permanent and binding.
Yeah. So I call her my little one. She's not so little anymore. She's started discovering Jane Austen movies. And so I'm just thinking, any of the situations in Pride and Prejudice, if those relationships were like binding in a haunting way for your family, and the consequences down the line would just be so insane in a Regency type era.
What if in that way the lasting decisions and magic through permanence could be tied to magic through study? So maybe by exploiting this rule, you can gain magic, basically.
That just sounds like being a lawyer to me.
It basically does.
That sounds like if you do that, that's law magic. That is full-on law magic.
Little known fact: most Fae are actually in the laws.
Oh,
they hang out. They can manipulate the truth, but they cannot lie. They hang out in courts. They follow all kinds of strange arcane rules and logic that doesn't make sense to people who aren't initiated. That sounds like Fae behavior to me.
That seriously does.
Are you saying if we combine those, we should also combine the Fae things with it?
Maybe.
I'm cool with that.
I'm for it. Yeah.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
that. I sort of put balance being revered with ordered and analytical rational, and I don't know if they all go together or not, but I also I almost want to put this with it too, just so that there's like a counterpoint.
That makes sense to me, because especially if we've got the rising and falling elements later on.
All right, so we kind of have high fantasy separate, Arctic fantasy, spy fantasy, unsettling and eerie knowledge, soulmates, lighthearted, and animal speak. Those are all of our one-offs. Then we have our combination of spirit fantasy, our combination of Fae court, our combination of survival against nature, human versus nature, and then this beautiful pastoral emotional ideas. We've got some stuff here. This is going to be really cool. We'll have to see what actually we end up playing with.
Yeah.
Are we ready to vote? Are we saying we're good?
I think so. I'm just not sure how we vote here.
I'll show you how. I'm going to.
I'm just sitting here going like, there's so much fun stuff here.
I know. How are we going to narrow it down to what this world actually is?
I know, right?
Right?
So you're voting. You're
going
voting
like,
for singles and groups, and you can have. I think. Let's see. How many are there total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think. What do you think, Em? 3 votes? 4 votes? 3? 4?
Let's do 3.
3? 3 votes.
Let's do 3.
You have to pick 3. You have
Cream
to.
of the crop.
We'll have to kill some things. Okay. And I'll put 1 minute on the timer. So what will happen is I will start the voting. You should get a dialogue that pops up on your screen and says, hey, vote. And then you click to start voting. And then you should see a spot where you can go and select the ones that you're going to vote for. Join voting.
voting.
Yeah. And then just click the pluses. I'm so torn because I really love.
There really are.
I really love a lot of this stuff. It's super cool.
Oh man.
I think I have to do it like that. Everybody gets to see what I vote for.
There's my votes.
I haven't finished yet.
Okay.
It's okay, Em.
I don't know what
I
to
had a hard
do.
time too.
Okay. Let's do.
So we build another world based off
You've
the
got
ones-
it. They've got to do,
Second world.
they've got to do 22 of them.
Well, let me know because I always love these.
Okay, here we go. Results are in.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, whoa!
I am surprised at how well aligned we all were.
That's wild.
That's
That's
incredible. Yeah, that's very cool. All right, so let's do some reorganization here. I will grab my arrow and move some stuff down here, like so.
we
And I'll
had
take this group.
Spirit Fantasy with 4 votes.
Yes.
Unsettling with 3.
Yes.
Courtly with 3.
Yes. Those are our main Courtly Fae, yeah.
Courtly Fae.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
That's
Those are our
everything else
winners.
was one
those
vote.
were the winners.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
I honestly did not think I was going to be as aligned as it ended up being.
I didn't either. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the heck was going to happen.
Ghosts are fun.
Ghosts
This
are
is-
fun.
This is good. This is really good. Yeah. Okay. So one thing that we need to keep in mind, and this is probably more of a reminder for me because I am terrible at this. As we move on through the next stages, we want to make sure and remember like all of this plus our lacunae that we already talked about, right? So we can have the no sweets thing, right? Which is perfect and I think still will fit somehow, some way, right? But unsettling and eerie knowledge, Fey noir, prophetic, shamanistic, like this is a pretty serious setting, right? And my default, and just don't vote for it when I do this because I'll probably do it anyway, is I'll put something in that's really kind of silly just to try and get my brain to work. So, but we need to probably honor what we've put in so far and say that this is actually a fairly serious setting, realm, world, right? So with that in mind, I think we can move on to the big picture.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The big picture, I'm going to zoom out for the folks viewing and go look at our little list of steps here. The big picture is kind of the backdrop and scope of the realm that we're creating. Things like continents, wars, like really large concepts, big things. If there is magic or tech, which we said there is no tech, but if there is magic, how accessible is it? How does it influence the world as a whole? Right? So we're going to delve into some of those things that are permeating the entire sort of world, right? Potentially. And those are the types of things we'll go into now. Later on, we'll hit things like culture and organizations, and this one is hard not to get into in big picture sometimes. So keep an eye on that. This is beliefs, people, heritages, legends, past events, secret groups, schools, institutions. We'll also get into landmarks, which are places you could point to on a map, people, and goodies. None of that comes now. It's all just these very big picture ideas. So come back.
This is
I'm
the
gonna
one I
zoom out.
struggle with the most.
It's a fun one. It's a good one.
All right.
Continents and
I've got to.
Big.
Okay, don't get sidetracked. Don't get sidetracked.
I know. And
all right.
I'm sure to put something super silly in here, and then we'll all, you can judge me anyway. All right. So let's get the timer going again. We want to do 3 minutes again?
I think we could probably do 2. Did you see how
2?
fast those ideas were going down?
Yeah.
They were flowing. Yeah, we could do 2.
Yeah.
Let's do 2. All right.
Okay.
Everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, begin.
And sometimes I go back and look at what we just talked about.
Oh, for sure.
I have so many ideas based around the same thing.
Write them. Write them, and then you can make rooms for others.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Sorry, that's the big sister / former substitute teacher in me coming out.
I've never had a big sister before.
Well, you're stuck with me now.
Yay.
Big. Okie dokie.
Ah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
It's
I
a good
really
little
love some
list.
of these.
Yeah, I like it. Well, would you like to read them, Erika?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Do you want me to ask anyone for expanding, or I think a lot of these are pretty clear?
If you'd
So,
like.
okay.
Yeah.
So starting at the top, the court wars, which I feel like with what we know about Fae, pretty straightforward. Spirits
Mhm.
everywhere. Love that idea. Dead advisors, which when I first saw that was like in love. Major nations of humans with Fae societies within them. Coming of age, you receive the fruit that allows you to access the spirit magic / realm. Contracts are binding in your soul. If someone signs something, it can grant or remove power. Spirits versus Fae, cool. Coming of age, big courtly party followed by a deadly trial. Awkward. Spirits revered by Fae. Fae act as guardians and caregivers to the spirit's last wishes. Belief, breaking a vow breaks part of your spirit. Angry spirits are dangerous. Spirit magic and Fae magic in conflict. Ongoing battle, the rationalist versus the irrationalist. Death of the original court, an ancient mystery. Legalities of talking to the spirits, what rights do they have? Are veggie / fruit sentient? Are they okay to eat?
That's sick.
So that's what we have.
Interesting.
Some of these are
Excellent.
opposites, and I love that.
Just, yeah, I'm kind of loving this division we're seeing between the spirits and the Fae.
Mhm.
I almost don't want humans to be in this world. Like,
Interesting.
who needs humans?
I kind of feel like I considering like the spirits thing was kind of a thing I was leading. I am going to advocate for the humans, if only to have like a middleman kind of third party involved here, and to be like, to have something for like players to be.
Here's a question for the group. Are spirits a playable character?
If any of the major spirit ones on this get approved, I would want to say yes. But I don't know. I'm not going to speak for the whole of Vi, but in this world, it'd be very disappointing not to be able to play a spirit and cause mischief on the other side of the realm, if that makes sense.
It's not something I had thought of, but I don't think I'm opposed to it. Again, there's this an idea that I was thinking about with the balance thing is life and death are their own balance and cyclical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And being a spirit could be like a step in that process. Like you live, you die, you spend time as a spirit aiding the living, and then you maybe move on to that great river to move on to like your full on afterlife where you get to just chill.
Nice.
And so it, maybe you do play someone who has lived their full life, and their final thing is they have to kind of help usher their champion to find whatever it is that they need to find before they finally get to go ahead and take their rest. Like that's like they lived their whole life building the skills they would need for this, and now as a spirit they have to conclude everything they were working for.
Dang, okay.
So I can see that as being a way somebody could do a spirit. There wouldn't be the only way, but if you wanted to do that as a character, I could see that being a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or even
in some way they'd have to be someone who helps guide the realm, right? Based on kind of our archetype for characters in Vi. So it would have to be wise and powerful. They would have to be able to help guide the realm in some way and be a mentor to an upcoming, champion, basically.
Yeah. And
but
if somebody has lived a long life understanding politics and law and power, and they pass on and they're remaining on as a spirit, like that's being an advisor is literally their job at that point.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
And there's also the good old classic revenge story. And if you know everything that you know and you can get your vengeance from beyond the grave, that can be a lot of fun and also incredibly heartbreaking. Thank you, Hamlet. So
absolutely.
Sorry, if I were looking to play this world specifically, I'd be like, all right, who wants a dead advisor? I'm here. Just with how this is going, I'd be like, yep, I found my class already.
On the flip side, I think you could also play a Fae.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. This is a place where you could do three. You could do three different things. You could do a spirit, person, or human, or a Fae. And Fae are not demi-humans. They are completely their own and almost alien thing.
Correct.
So that keeps our rule there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that you're thinking about that because that's also how my brain works.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, buddy.
Well, are there any of these we should combine because they are very similar? Maybe start there.
Not crazy similar, but sort of. The Court Wars, I feel, ties in really nicely with my idea of death of the original court.
I was thinking the same thing.
Being an ancient mystery. So like if you don't really, because there are wars going on where, are we really sure why this conflict started? Not really. And if we have that kind of ambiguous mystery that folks can go dig in, that's always fun because then you're like, okay, so what is the actual origin of why everybody started, beheading each other? That just feels like it fits there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think that really does work well together. I like the coming of age. You receive the fruit thing and the like big party and deadly trial elements. I know that's like the same. I know
They
the
are
same
the
person.
same. They were really should have been combined together.
But I think that works.
It also gives like a jumping off place for GMs who want to run an adventure here. They can attend one of these things or help somebody through a trial, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something
What
goes wrong.
What about what about the contracts being binding and the belief and vow breaking thing? Does that feel connected to anybody but me?
I like that personally. How do you feel about it?
I see that.
For sure. Yeah.
There's a
I don't know
couple
if
of
it's true.
Will
It's a
and
belief.
yeah. There's a couple of Will and M's that I'm just kind of like, and I want to just squish them together. So I'm glad other people are already making that suggestion.
Can I hear more about spirit magic and fey magic and conflict?
I'm not sure. It was just this idea of everything every kind of story needs a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure necessarily that fey magic and spirit magic were operating on the same rules and principles.
I wanted
Ooh.
to pitch then perhaps spirit magic is based a lot on like emotion, so it is irrational potentially, whereas fey magic is very much rational and like structured, right?
Could
So
be.
that could be a potential combination, but it was just a thought. Up to you two completely.
I don't mind that,
Yeah.
but I think I like the idea of spirit magic not necessarily kind of being emotional, but in this sense of it's a partnership rather than
Mhm.
necessarily being irrational. Like it is like spirit magic requires the living and the dead to work together. Spirit magic, fey magic can be done by an individual. So like you've got a teamwork versus individual element here in kind of my thinking. So it maybe not necessarily rational versus irrational, though you can though emotional versus rational, even though that dichotomy is a little false. That could also be a thing of like deep unsettling knowledge, the idea that those two aren't as separate as anyone wants to pretend.
Mhm.
Especially because again, the High Priestess is all about like deep knowledge, but its reverse is like that surface knowledge thing. So I could see a conflict that is only a conflict if you look at it on the surface level. If you dig deeper, maybe it's not as different as like the rationalists and irrationalists want to believe.
I like that. I think
Maybe
you could still maybe group them together and
Yes,
have them
I
be
think so.
related, even if they're
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
I think so.
I'm all for having, because people get into fights about all sorts of things that aren't actually like, here's your actual like source of information, and somehow the argument ends up like opposite sides of the fence. So I like the idea of them being grouped together too.
Well, let's do it then. The one I wanted to propose. So spirits everywhere, dead advisors. I see those as similar, but I also kind of like this up with the like this is a trio almost, right?
Ooh,
I don't know
that
how
makes
y'all
sense to
feel
me.
about that.
I like that.
Agreed. Yeah, and that totally works because we haven't really established like we've established that by eating whatever you end up eating, you get access to those spirits. But how cognitive, how sentient do they come across? Or does it, like, do they have trouble communicating with the living or with the fae for that matter? We've kind of established that the spirits obviously have sentience in this world, but whether or not they can clearly communicate is something that could be really fun to play with.
I think that's why we want kind of humans around, is that in order to effectively communicate with the living, I do think that the spirits kind of need that symbiosis.
Oh,
Okay.
so like
Yeah,
humans
no.
act as like the party,
The
the
conduit.
in-between party.
Yes.
Yeah, the mediator conduit kind of thing.
That's cool.
Interesting.
And like the
Okay.
spirits provide wisdom to help the humans deal with the fae, and the humans provide kind of a conduit for the like transmission of information or the communication between like the various groups various groups using the spirits as wisdom aids. Again, I know we don't want to use other people's IPs, but I'm going to use it as kind of a reference point. The past avatars in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where you have access to that idea, but imagine if like more than the avatar could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If multiple people could be like, hey, so and so, ancient lawyer, when you wrote this down, what exactly were you talking about? Can we get some clarification here?
What would be kind of an interesting combination with that would be angry spirits are dangerous with the spirit sleuthing magic, because then you're going to need those two people to be able to be that mediary between them and the Fae.
Okay.
Like literally combine these three into one.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that's between you and Will.
I'm down.
I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah.
Because if they can't communicate, that's going to create tension.
And that that creates angry spirits. And what do angry spirits do when they can't get, what they want or what they need? They take it. They possess.
Yeah.
Well, possession is 9/10 of the law. If I sorry, I saw the joke. Oh, I'm old, and the puns will never stop. It's just gonna get worse.
Mom jokes. Mom jokes.
Mom jokes are always just that little bit subtle, but just as awful.
Yes. But yeah, I like the idea of the spirits being, being these entities that if they are angered or if they're enraged, they can cause problems because if they take over a body, there might be weirdness and consequences. Like, can you imagine? Okay, so this may not necessarily be a thing we do, but like imagine if an angry bear spirit that is that is infuriated for some reason takes over a person, and they end up with this kind of spiritual aura of the bear, like a berserker situation, and they are just incredibly powerful and dangerous because now you have a human and human intelligence with bear strength and power and
just imagine
and spiritual claws. Like just imagine the destruction that can wreak.
Well, and how quickly that would be weaponized.
Oh yeah.
Just all the different that's really cool. I really do like that.
How are we feeling about this grouping? Yeah, I was just gonna suggest maybe we should. We feel good about going to voting?
Oh, more voting? Sure.
Yes.
Excellent.
Every phase.
That's right.
Can I just have all of it?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. But I want them, but okay.
So there are 9.
I think you need the one in the top corner on the left.
Oh, I missed it. Oh my gosh. Okay. 10. We could do 3 votes again, I think.
Okay.
Y'all good with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Here comes the voting.
Force me to make hard decisions.
That's right.
Yeah, kill your darlings.
I really
I hate having to make these but I want it. Dang it.
It's very difficult.
I start getting all mind gamey with it. I'm like, people are probably gonna vote for this one, so I'm gonna try and get this one in too. And then
you can never rely on people to vote on what you think
know.
they're gonna vote on.
It's so true.
Nah. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Really, I'm going to be happy with whatever gets in.
All right, here we go.
I don't like it.
Ooh, boy. Okay.
Oh
Wow.
man.
We got a couple of 3s, and we have a couple of 2s. All right.
So frustrating. There's a part of me that I went back and forth
Oh yeah.
on the coming of age with the fruit thing because I really did like the Persephone connection.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is A-okay.
Yeah.
The problem
We
is when you
have
have so many
Spirits
like
Buffet, Court
Mhm.
Wars. What else do we have? Dead Advisors?
Dead Advisors was a 2. And we've got
Yeah.
the spirits versus Fae and the sleuthing magic stuff. That seemed to be really exciting for folks.
Yeah. There we go. There's our order. Ooh, okay. So we got Court Wars. That's like a for sure, right? The spirit sleuthing. Yep. Angry spirits are dangerous. Spirits everywhere, and the Dead Advisors. I really like that one. That's gonna be fun. And spirit magic, Fae magic, and conflict. Yeah. I think this feels cohesive. I like it.
All right.
Okay, so we don't
oh my
have-
god, the law doesn't result in justice because nobody can get their just desserts.
Your audience is trying to break me. Your audience is clearly trying to break me. The puns
I like this audience.
The puns are thick. Oh my goodness.
Look at this one though. Oh my gosh.
It's a food. Aaron's giving up.
Thank you. Thank you, Cold. At least, you know.
Oh wow.
Hey Aaron, we're really sorry about your will to live. Maybe he'll get back later.
It's lucky. You're all lucky. It's really strong because, but cold water. You're on the list. Cold water. You're on the list.
You're on my good list, Cold Water.
All right.
All right.
Throwing cold water.
All right. Let's do culture and organization. So this one will be fun. Do you want to explain this one, Em?
Sure. So actually, I put a belief in the previous one, but this is actually the place for beliefs. These culture is pretty self-explanatory. We've got the beliefs, we've got legends, we have past events, peoples and heritages, secret groups, organizations comes into play there. Secret groups, schools, institutions. We probably have to have some kind of court or law school, something like that. So anything that feels like it would belong in this world to make the world run, that's what we're going to put here. And I like to move my sticky notes. So
Me too.
I'm so glad I'm not alone.
That's fair. All right.
As long as no one's frustrated by them hanging out here.
No, move them wherever you like. No worries. Well, let's see. We want 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it. Everybody ready? Go for it. Oh, you can use proper nouns start to become appropriate here too.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I am having struggles coming up with ideas for this one. I'm gonna zoom out a little.
Words.
Oh my word. I love that. Holy crap. I shouldn't have read somebody else's. Now I'm really depressed. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to write something good, I promise.
All of mine are, never mind, I won't say because I don't want to distract.
I did all businesses.
All of mine involve the undead somehow.
This was my worst one so far. Okay, this is fine.
All right. Here we go. Aaron, would you like to read these ones for us?
Sure. I'll go ahead and I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start from. I'm feeling kind of like going from right to left. So let's go ahead and start with.
Very Japanese.
Yeah, the Spirit Sleuths, the one-stop shop to find your sleuth. Interesting. Again, I think M, you said you did like all businesses. Okay, so like that feels like a private eye guild or something.
Exactly, for spirits to show up and find the person that can help them.
Feasty Fruits Emporium. The Advisory Collegium. Okay. The Fruit Feast Histories. That almost feels like the book you find in a library somewhere. Lady Mahan's School of Shamanism. The Daughters of the Gate. Ghost Handlers. I'm curious, Erika, what do you mean by like feast and famine?
There's a whole bunch of people who are way into the feast season. So like when there's lots of food, and then there's normally an off season with farms and whatnot. And so there are a whole bunch of people who are way into famine or fasting. And so they're kind of just two separate organizations. There, you got a bunch of gluttons, and then you got a bunch of people who just don't. It was kind of the idea.
That's interesting.
Like kind of two opposing groups with different ideologies.
Okay. Okay. There. So the archive. This one was more of a like just kind of a broad culture thing. A matrilineal or a matriarchal society.
Nice.
This is kind of a thing with me. These pop up a lot in my own stuff, so that just kind of plopped in there. You're right. What you know. I grew up in a matrilineal house. Ghost Assassins. Spirit Surplus, the store with all your spirit magic needs. Yes. What would you need for spirit magic? Like what kind of things are they selling there? Like when you see these, what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking like orbs, so that you can actually see the spirit, like project it in court, or tassels maybe that like lure them closer, like if it has a particular scent that they would like, talismans, something that maybe could make spirits physical for a short period of time, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. I could also see it being like libations, so like like bottles of like pouring things out, like pouring like drink out for the dead and stuff.
Nice.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
The High Court. Yeah, that could be that there's a whole bunch of stuff that can go on there. An Undead Court.
Mm-hmm.
Temple of the Maiden, Mother, and Crone.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go with that.
So I'm going to make a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
If we see any like really things that we feel are kind of duplicative, we can just group those really quickly. But maybe we don't group anything else this time. We just vote.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay.
We'll get a few more votes that way.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the Advisory Collegium?
Yeah, it's the place where you learn to be either a spirit advisor or learn to utilize spirit advisory. I don't know. Something like that.
I was just wondering if these two were the same, but it sounds like maybe they're slightly different.
Yeah, I think one of them is like one of them is a business or like a guild of people, and I think like the other is an educational.
Perfect.
Is an
Okay, I'm
educational
down with
thing.
that.
Like I almost wonder if the Collegium feeds students into places like the Spirit Sleuths over time. Like, you know how if you want to get a job at like a certain law firm or something, you have to go to Harvard or Yale because they only recruit from there.
Right.
So like maybe certain of these like organizations of shamans or mages only recruit from specific collegiums or something.
The Spirit Sleuth is a corporate sponsor of the advisory college.
Yeah. Yeah, they do all of their sporting events in Spirit Sleuth Coliseum at the Advisory Collegium. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We could group them if we like, if we feel like they're very tightly
stay
tied
separate.
together.
I think we keep separate here, especially because I don't think this is the only group. These are not the only groups or cultural things we could put down. Like you could always come back to this and add more if you needed to.
For sure. I don't feel like any of this is like highly in conflict with anything else. So that's the reason why I thought it might be fun. This might be a fun time to just do like a big let's vote for them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 16. What if we vote for, do we want 5 or 6?
I almost always vote for less. So I would say 5.
Can do 5. Okay, let's vote for 5.
Force me to make hard decisions. Let's do the 5.
Yeah, let's kill our darlings.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
I know one I absolutely have to do.
Oh, goodness. It's,
So hard.
Okay. Oh, I still have another vote. Oh no, that's even worse. I feel strongly about that one. Okay.
If you wanted to, could you put multiple votes on the same one, Will?
Technically, yes. If you're a monster.
My bad. How dare I even question the magical
I'm
ways
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
You can vote.
Is that because I did that in this last one? I didn't know if that was right.
God.
I'm a monster.
It's allowed. It's allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. If that helps. I just felt strongly about that being included, which is why I got 2 of my votes.
Still waiting on one person to finish.
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm torn on some stuff. I'm trying to make some decisions.
It's difficult. Yeah. All right.
There's so many of these. I'm gonna trust that some of the other ones.
Whoa!
What the hell? Okay.
Wow.
This
Okay.
was unexpected for me.
Yeah, me too. I like it though. Okay. All right. So I will grab my little pointer and start moving some things around here. No feisty fruits.
I'm curious about what you were thinking, Erika, with the keepers, grave keepers.
I liked the idea of if a grave gets messed with, it affects the spirit's ability to operate. So like for example, there's use salt and burn bones to keep a ghost from coming back and haunting you. And that's kind of one of those old lore things. And I just like the idea of the gravekeepers being the folks who protected the resting places from folks who might be trying to destroy the spirit's connection to the plane.
That
kind of the idea.
that makes a lot of sense in a world that is this focused on the dead.
Yeah, it basically keeps anybody from assassinating the dead, which I know is weird to say, but
So,
Mhm.
all right. So, full disclosures. One of the other places that I'm kind of connected with is Magic the Gathering. So Magic Twitter and stuff.
Mhm.
And
oh yeah.
and in Magic lore, there is a character named Kaya her job is a ghost assassin.
That's
Literally,
so cool.
literally one of the first things she's introduced as doing is killing a undead spirit monarch.
Mm.
She was
Yeah.
she was contracted to send a spirit monarch to its final rest.
Not okay. That's so cool. That's so cool. I haven't played Magic in a minute. So when you said Spirit Monarch, I was like, Liliana? No.
No,
Okay.
Liliana's gotten into her
Actually-
own level of trouble. If you want to know more about that, I'll let you know outside
Well,
of this.
we can
whole thing.
talk later.
We'll talk later.
I'm gonna.
Oh, Em, I forget
gonna
you're also one of the
suggest-
people who play Magic. Sorry, because
Oh yeah.
we've geeked out about that in
also-
the past.
I also
Oh,
play Magic. Yeah.
okay. Well, then we're
not
all
all
in
the
good
time,
company.
but like
Yep.
sometimes
Oh,
with friends. Usually
I-
not competitively.
Oh, I don't do competitively, but there's some drafts and people's cubes I've played that are just insane. Not on stream because it's completely off topic, but like I could tell some fun stories.
This will be a thing in the Discord later, I'm sure.
Ah,
Oh wait, we're
did
voting
you just
again?
start voting, Will? Uh-oh, Will froze.
Oh no!
His internet was
Um,
having problems earlier, so we'll see if we all drop.
Okay.
I
And
think
I guess-
not now for the voting.
Yeah, let's
And-
wait until we get Will back.
While we
Right.
wait for Will, I'm gonna just start talking about landmarks, maybe,
Please.
Okay.
and we can decide what that's gonna be like. So, landmarks is our step 4. We're gonna talk about narratively relevant places that you could point to on a street level map. So, once you're like in the city, instead of talking about like the continent like places, once you're in the city, what are things that you can see? So, like potentially that would look like important statues. That could be the gate that we have the Daughters of the Gate for, and stuff like that.
Okay. Though I will say, in my mind, the Daughters of the Gate might not have a. Oh, Will is back.
He's back.
Apologies.
But yeah, like in
Aaron's
my,
telling us about the Daughters of the Gate.
like the idea that I had
Ah.
was that the Daughters of the Gate wouldn't necessarily be a known organization, or like they wouldn't be a like there are secrets. Again, that whole thing with the
Unseen
High
thing.
Priestess. I like the idea of a secret order of spies being prevalent or important somehow in this realm. And this is just
I like
because
that.
I like spies. I will not pretend like there is any reason beyond that. But yeah, because this is such a serious world, I like, and there is so much, like legal skullduggery. I like the idea of people whose job it is to dig around and find information,
Mm.
and maybe
sure.
beyond that, they find information about lost spirits. Again, finding mysteries or finding the resting places of people who would have powerful knowledge,
Mhm.
and trying to learn what they can from those kinds of things.
And it really ties nicely back into the whole like spirit sleuthings that we
Mhm.
have as well.
Mhm.
So I think that absolutely works.
Yeah.
Will,
And
I went over what landmarks are already, but it looked like
Did
maybe
you?
you were setting up another voting section for this second tier of culture and orgs.
I thought we might do a runoff.
Okay,
How do y'all feel?
I'm 100%
Should be
down for that.
super quick. 2 votes each.
Votes each.
Yeah.
2 votes. Okay, hang on.
And for the ones in the middle section, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So 2 votes each.
Yes.
But once again, Erika wants them all. But I won't. No. I'm going to mute myself.
screaming at the computer screen. Which one do I want?
No, there are noises being made. It just nobody else needs to hear me going.
Will, whenever you have a second, do you want to actually stream Miro again?
Oh, yes, I sure do.
Did we lose? Yeah, we lost that part of the stream. Okay.
My bad.
No worries.
Live, everybody.
Now you can see what I voted for.
Ooh, I'm judging you.
Cold War,
Do it.
I'm so glad that you're loving this idea.
Okay. Oof. All right. Well, Gravekeepers.
I didn't get my second vote in, but that's okay. I took too long.
Oh, no. What would you have
It's
voted
okay.
for?
I don't know.
Okay.
But Spirit Sleuths made it, so but I was like really torn between that Undead Court and the Ghost Assassins. Those are the ones that I kept.
Oh, both of
Yeah.
those have one vote, so one of them would have made it into the final total.
Do you want to pick one?
Oh, let's get Ghost Assassins in there.
Okay.
I feel guilty having another one of mine get in, being that Gravekeepers made it. So
Fair enough.
All right. There we go. So you introed landmarks already, so we can
Yep.
do landmarks. We're ready. We can do
Yep.
this. Okay. Do we want 2 minutes for landmarks?
Yeah, I think we could do 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Let's
so.
go.
I think I can
Let's
throw
go.
some ideas in there in 2 minutes.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I got to get rid of that first. There we go. Now I can access things again.
Hold, if you have a landmark you want me to add in, let me know.
Oh.
Okay. Wow. We raced through those 2 minutes.
Yup.
Everyone can finish up the last idea that they were working on, and then we can read through these. I think I'm going to make Will read these ones.
That sounds fair. I should have to read it someday, I suppose. Okay. Here we go. I will start at the top. I will read in an order that you will not be able to predict. Goddess symbol sculpture. The graveyard. The Great Library of Emeriti.
Ooh, I love that name.
Big shiny pomegranate. Fake Chicago bean. Monument to the original Fey court. The great tree has a bunch of different fruits on its branches. Moon-touched
Can I add
plaza.
to that?
Sure.
I think that the spirits tend to the great tree, and that's why it grants the powers. Continue.
Yeah. Moon-touched plaza. Memorial to the founding mother. The great sea that extends as far as the eye can see.
Was that Cold's doing?
No, that was me.
On the list.
The Leana. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
A wonderful building to host court in. Widow's Sorrow. High set of sea cliffs. Ma and Pa's Hearts. Fruits shop. The Greater Court Fancy Building.
Oh, sorry. In parentheses, fancy building.
Oh, it's not the Greater Court Fancy Building? Come on.
I think that's
all
what
right.
be named.
Tree of Whispered Tales. Spirit River Guide Outpost. Feast Point. Might be a name for something we already mentioned. The Statue of the Dead, a memorial statue to visit with your loved ones. Collegium registrations and counseling. Central Grave Park. And Advisorium Elaine's.
Can I expound on one or more of my things that I wrote?
Please.
So the graveyard is actually like this big thing that's underground, and it just has like these different tiny locations, like the size of like a pomegranate maybe, and they're just lined up. And during the day or whatever, whenever they're active, spirits can go out and they wander the upper city and everything. But then when they want to settle and rest, they go beneath the city where all of these rows and rows and rows of homes, quote unquote, are. And that's where the spirits can like rest in these designated locations where people can go and like chat and stuff.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I was going to make a suggestion about combining that and Central Grave Park, but Central Grave Park is more of a big old fancy people dead place.
Ooh,
That's very nice and well kept and whatnot. Where this sounds like, your idea is completely different than what I was thinking.
What if you combined that with the Moon-touched plaza?
The Central Grave Park?
Yeah, what if you combined those two?
Oh, I had imagined the Moon-touched Plaza was Fey related, but you're saying it's spirit related? That's cool.
Could be. That could be. You could also be neutral ground.
I love neutral ground.
Yeah. Somewhere in this world has to be neutral, otherwise we're in trouble.
Could that then be Feast Point? The Moon-touched Plaza?
Ooh, that could be another place within a place. Yeah, I mean we're big on liminal spaces and in betweens here. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind having that joined if you're okay with that one.
I love that.
Yeah, let's do it.
And
So Central Grave Park and Feast Point and Moon-touched Plaza could all be joined.
Mm-hmm.
Are you cool with that, Erika?
yeah, I'm totally cool with that. Central Park, New York Central Park came to mind, and then I'm like, yes, but what if all the fancy people were buried there?
What else?
And we can agree that like Widow's Sorrow, it's supposed to be like a high set of sea cliffs, and I just have this idea of either whether people are die there or they're waiting for someone to return, and the Great Sea kind of go together.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you, Em.
Yeah, I'm totally good with that. Sorry, I was off in my imagination of running an adventure here, and I was like, what if?
Look, I can't say anything. My map maker brain is trying to figure out like where everything in this city is now.
Nice.
Can you imagine like dropping your players into this realm? They've never been here before, and most of the streets are kind of empty. You see a few human, a few fae walking around, and then like you put on these glasses or whatever, and all of a sudden the streets are teeming with spirits. The whole like take them down, put them back up.
Okay, now you're just oh god, what is that? What was that movie where like somebody like puts on the glass and he sees obey everywhere?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of this.
I need to look this up again because there's all kinds of interesting discussions about that movie that we're gonna
skip.
I think it's a John Carpenter thing. I'm not sure. I need to double. Anyway.
Oh, John Carpenter. There's a guy.
Yeah.
I just also kind of picture like New Orleans funerals where everybody's kind of celebrating, and the Moon Touch Plaza got me thinking. So what if like certain times, depending on what phase the moon is, you can or can't see it's the ghost on the streets,
or it's easier, or it's easier for people that aren't initiated to it to see it.
Yeah.
And just I think when it's the crescent moon, right? Because that's the symbol of the High Priestess.
Yeah. And just like these giant ghost parties going down the streets. I got stuck. I'm like, ooh, let's go play.
Hey, Erika, how do you feel about the pomegranate being like near the library or like being on its ground?
I love that idea because in Chicago, I call it's not its proper name, but I call the bean, and that's actually downtown Chicago. It's by all of the other art museums. I think the Chicago City Library isn't too far from it, so I think that's great.
These two?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought it would be fun to have a big shiny pomegranate. Because I'm weird.
Is the big shiny pomegranate the monument to the original Fae Court somehow?
We could.
Or the goddess symbol sculpture? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, those could be combined. I just know that we have that original ancient mystery of them all dying and no one quite sure what happened. And so I'm was trying to find ways to bring that back.
Is the goddess's symbol a pomegranate?
So I was actually the tripart thing that you've got like the full moon and the crescent and the like crescent moons on either side. That's usually part of the High Priestess. That is the classical goddess symbol. Which is what was in my mind.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't need to be the symbol. That does not need to be the symbol. It's also funny that the pomegranate has come up so many times in our discussion connecting with Persephone because, like, okay, I'm gonna go Greek mythology nerd here a little bit. Also because I have been really enjoying the YouTube channel Overly Sarcastic Productions. And they do Greek mythology things occasionally. And everybody kind of sees Persephone as a goddess of spring, but in like the Homeric hymn to Demeter, where we get the story of Persephone and Hades, spring is Demeter's job. Persephone has nothing to do with it. And if you dig into some of the accounts we have, Persephone is called Dread Persephone in a couple of the stories.
Really?
And when somebody, I can't remember who it is, but somebody goes to the underworld and hears like horrific like wails that somebody is, being, in danger or in trouble, he doesn't attribute it to Hades. He attributes it to Persephone in the writing. Persephone is not a like cheery spring goddess. She is a full-on queen of the underworld.
Yeah, her other name being Core. That duality. I've got like 3 volumes. I also love my Greek mythologies. I've got 3 volumes of Lore Olympus on my shelf here. Yep. So I know my, And
That's so cool.
Persephone is, you're right. Persephone is so often like, oh, flowers, spring is how people present her.
Or perceive her, yeah.
Or perceive her, and they completely forget the destruction and chaos element. Which,
she is,
yeah, like
she is one of the only goddesses who rules equally with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
In those stories, yeah.
In a lot of those stories. Like,
and then, oh man, you start looking at not the connections, but the similarities between her and someone, and in Hindi mythology, Kali, for example. Because while Kali is often associated with death, she's also change, and how through change and destruction, creation happens. And so just, yeah, one of my hyperfixations, don't mind me. But yeah, that's cool.
I think you guys just unlocked my next thing that I'm gonna obsessively research. So thanks.
All right.
Should we vote on these landmarks?
I think we should. Let's get the voting set up really quickly here.
how many votes are we thinking here?
We're thinking probably a few, I think, this time. 3, 4.
Oh, and just real quick on the Mon Pa Hearts fruit shop. You know how every city has that one thing that you're supposed to go do, even though it's kind of lame? I won't name anything in case somebody thinks that thing is really cool. But it's
I'm from St. Louis. I'll throw the Arch under the bus if anybody does.
I wasn't gonna say it.
I'll throw the St. Louis Arch under the bus in a heartbeat. I'm a bad St. Louis, and I freely admit it.
But it's kind of that, oh, you're going to? Well, you have to go to Mom and Pa's. It's like, like, you have to go get a hot dog from this place. Okay.
Yeah, you have to go to Buc-ee's, and you do. Let's be honest.
You do.
You do. Again, for St. Louis, you have to go to the Arch. You have to have emos.
You go to St. Paul, Minneapolis, you have to go to the Mall of America, even though, yes, it really is just a giant mall.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 5 votes, I think.
So many. Okay.
I know. Lots of votes. 2 minutes, though, so.
Okay.
I haven't voted on anything yet. Okay.
There's still so many of those that I like.
That was painful. Thanks, Will.
Right?
Yeah. You ready? Here we go.
That's what we got.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll start moving some of them around here. That down. That down. That goes upward. So it looks like we have the Moontouch Plaza Feast Point Central Grave Park as kind of one of our core features.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to come up. And then we actually had quite a few 2s this time, in addition to a 3. We also had the 4 of Widow's Sorrow and the Great Sea. So we all love that one.
I love one thing I love that this actually tells us about this place is that it's coastal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tells us the city that we're talking about here as kind of like the centerpiece of this realm is coastal.
Yeah.
Which is good. Again, the High Priestess has connections with water and the moon, and so we've got the whole tides thing going on. Like, that all works.
Yeah.
When I originally
agree.
Yeah. When I originally saw in the Lacuna that like the Age of Sailing was out, and I'm like, the High Priestess is kind of associated with water a lot, but okay.
So it just means sailing isn't a huge part of this. I don't think
Yeah.
you can't have water and not have you can't have water and humans and not have sailors.
Hmm.
But it's just one of those things where it's not front and center in the world building. It's not a thing that this realm hangs its hat on, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
CC.
Cold, I'm
And
gonna
the
save
post-
that thought for the Will and I's next stream. That's a cool thought.
Ooh, that's actually a really good question from Cold Ward here. If water is a prevalent, how do watery graves factor in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll
Yep.
definitely come back to that. That's a neat thought.
I have a thought
Well,
about that,
well,
but
the
I
whole
don't know.
Lost
But I
Souls
don't know.
thing.
But I don't know what else it does implication wise.
Yeah. Well, I think we should move on to people.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we got to get now. People's interesting because people can be names, they can be pronouns, they can be
Jobs.
concepts, they can be jobs, right? All sorts of things like that. And this one will be interesting. But I think we can have a lot of fun with it. Remember some of the landmarks that we've come up with, cultures and organizations. Like we can definitely tie people back to some of those things. So think about that. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was actually just going to ask how I get more Post-it notes, but I was just given more Post-it notes.
Read your mind.
Good.
Good job.
We got that sorted. So let's do a 2-minute timer for people, should we?
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll add it cold.
Oh. I had an extra big Post-it. I don't know how that happened. Okay.
Oh, that's more an organization. Never mind.
Erika, I saw your reference to Corey down there.
We don't talk about her. I think at this point, with how much they've been mentioned, we can't not.
We call her Corey because we can't say her real name.
So many ideas. Do you want me to read these, Will?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. We've got Glenn Dirge, his Corner to the Stars, a suggestion from Coldwood. We have Elaine, Temple Mother Oliani, Law Spirits, Leith, rabidly hungry for knowledge, Spirit Speaker, Advocate Leanna, Gate Mistress Ariane, Calderia, a fine-haired lass with a schemer's gaze. And then I just had a description for this one. It's a lanky skulker with a heart of gold. Spirit Speaker Venset. We've got Fra, a ghost assassin. Lady Stelria, a high fae who hosts many contract court parties. Gab Bokla, a spirit river guide. The Emetarian Librarian. Chancellor Gregor Collegium. Vizipop, an old friendly spirit who likes to prank. Harvester, fruit or grave. Courtier, assistant to Faye. Corey, we don't talk about her. Widow's ghost, main figure seen on cliffs. Oh! And then River Wolf, in charge of the riverways. So these are a bunch of jobs we can assign to people who've already been made. That's cool.
Can I ask what's going on, Erika? What's in your mind with the Widow's Ghost?
I just liked the idea of so in a lot of lores, whether British or Japanese and whatnot, you'll have a spirit, normally a woman, who's this comes up in Hawaii too, where they're looking out to sea, waiting for a loved one to return, or they've died tragically on the cliffs because they weren't able to be with the person they loved. So that's that reoccurring ghost story that I've heard over and over since I was a kid. And I have found traces of it in Japanese culture, in Hawaiian culture, and in British and Scottish culture as well. And I'm sure if I keep looking, I will find it other places.
So a thought occurred to me, and I don't know how you feel about this.
The worst I can do is say no. So
bring it on. What if instead of waiting for somebody, because again, this is kind of because we're kind of leaning toward like a matriarchal or matrilineal world. What if instead of waiting for somebody to come back, what if she's waiting for somebody to like prove themselves worthy of her advice? Like, what if this is a spirit?
Oh,
what if this is a spirit that is waiting on the cliff to be like, okay, who is going to have the chutzpah to come up here and learn something? Who is going to have the chutzpah to be like, what do they know?
Yeah, I like it. It's a twist on the wizened old figure archetype. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like what if this is like they're known to be off on the cliffs, and they're known to give tests to people, and they won't become the ghost advisor to anyone who can't pass their test.
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, and another place this comes up is, we've mentioned Avatar earlier on stream, but there's the whole episode with Korra and the Painted Lady. So it's one of those stories that I'm always drawn to. And in that one, the ghost is definitely acting as a guardian protector type figure. So it doesn't show up until Korra's done basically run off the Fire Nation by herself.
Yeah.
So.
But I love, a part of me loves the idea of I love female mentor figures. Again, one of my favorite book series growing up was The Belgariad, and I love Polgara in those stories.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow. Wow. I haven't thought about that series in so long.
That's a foundational series for me.
Yeah.
So Polgara, I remember reading those books, and Polgara was just a mashup of my mother and my aunt into like one person. And so like I love the idea of female mentor figures, especially for male characters, because fantasy is usually so heavy on the boy, his connection with his father, all that thing, you see that all over the place.
Believe it or not, they are getting better.
Yeah. And then you do have like the father-daughter relationships that show up in a lot of stories. Again, you got like Moana and a few others. But the first time I saw a really good like boy and his, it's okay that the boy takes after his mother, was How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh yeah.
Like How to Train Your Dragon 2 recontextualizes everything really in How to Train Your Dragon 1, because it changes Stoic's difficulty with Hiccup to not just being, this boy is not living up to like the Viking ideal. It's this boy is so much like the woman Stoic loved that he lost, and to see the son going down the same path that he sees as having taken the mother away.
Yeah.
But then you see so much of how Hiccup's mannerisms and his thinking and the way he interacts with the world clearly came from his mother. And that is what makes him strong. And I loved that.
That is so cool. I never thought about it that way, and I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about that. So thank you. Also, Will, I had a thought here. I see you're setting up voting. What if we didn't vote on people? What if we just kept the concepts out there? Because you and I are gonna be deciding like enemies out of this, potential other people. I just don't see a point to eliminate people.
I'm okay with that.
It's a little different. I just thought maybe that could be a thing we did.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's go on and do goodies then.
Okay.
So goodies are just... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say one last thing about people, because this ties back to matriarchal society.
Sure.
So otters, river otters, sea otters are matriarchal societies in the wild. So I was trying to make those ties back. And river wolves are a type of, I'm not joking when I say they are 6 feet long. They live in the Amazon River. And they are just these beautiful, I adore otters. So I was just like that's where the river wolf name is kind of in tribute to, because it's that tie back to the matriarchal societies, and just otters are cool.
I also like the the kind of surface level element here. River otters from the Amazon.
Yeah, it ties back to the Sky River too. Yeah,
ties back to the Sky River and the fact that river was named because the weird random European was thinking about the Amazons.
Yeah, I just wanted to I
love that.
Be aware that it wasn't just like, oh, river wolf, Redwall reference. No, river wolf, because man, if you want some cool videos, just go look up Amazon river otter. If you've never seen them,
they are beautiful, but they're terrifying. These things will mob up on gators and caiman and just rip them to shreds.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I've seen videos of them taking on a jaguar. I had a campaign where I had a halfling that rode a river wolf because they were I just discovered them and they were my favorite. So anyway, goodies.
I thought I was gonna love this, but I'm genuinely a little scared.
The world of the river wolves.
The river wolves. I looked up some pictures. And I'm like, nah, that mammal's too large for me. A little
They're so cool.
A otter bear? No, thank you.
All right. Let's go on to goodies. So goodies are narratively relevant stuff. That's really kind of the only rule. They need to be narratively relevant. If it's tube socks, they are narratively relevant. If it is, I don't know why I always use that example. I feel like I need a new example. If it's a bottle of water, it is narratively relevant. I don't know. Don't
It's like the
don't
One Ring
don't
would count
listen.
as something, or in Mad
Come on.
Max, their cars would count
Mhm.
as like a narratively relevant story tool.
Sure, but now you're using only cool examples.
Okay, I'm sorry. A towel from a
Thank
towel.
you.
There, yes.
Well,
Douglas Adams.
Thank you.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
A towel.
That's
Towel is
Forget
fine.
your
what I'm
towel.
referencing.
So
Yes.
that
Not
one's
cool,
Yeah.
but it's narratively relevant.
Yeah, and about as big as we expect them to be as like a vehicle type of thing, right? So, but we don't have technology in this world, so vehicles not really in the cards. But different types of goodies. These are things, that a person could potentially have. Like if like items of power are a thing very much in Vi, and so characters who are from here would potentially have some of these. So we can write some cool stuff around that. Let's take 2 minutes, write some cool goodies.
I stole an idea from Cold earlier. Sorry, Cold.
Dang it, Will, I'm trying to focus.
All right, if you're wrapping one up, go ahead and do that.
Didn't delete
And
one I was working
then-
on. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Aaron, do you want to read them again for us?
Gladly.
Excellent.
A Fey pen for contract writing. Ooh, that's cool. A Two Brood of Destiny.
And that's the one that made me curse Will.
Gotcha. Okay. Spirits, a drink that allows spirits to feel specific things. Spirit-possessed chakrams. Water whistles. So objects that call water spirits to aid you. Moonstaff. An ore made of driftwood from the river. I'm assuming, again, the sky, the spiritual river.
Mm-hmm.
The Crescent of Revelation. Momentous. Spirit staff, a staff that allows people to see spirits within a radius and communicate with them. Crescent daggers, these would be like symbols of the Daughters of the Gate. Like that's their like concealed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Seeds of the Beginning. Seeds of the Beginning of the End of Will typing for forever. Spirit Dowser. Lantern, maybe for the Widow. Okay, interesting. Salt. Specific kinds of salt. That would be interesting. An iron nail. Okay. Getting kind of Celtic here. I like it. Again, we have the pomegranate. That's come up so many times in this discussion.
Mm.
Bones of the original court members.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. I see where the mind is there. Bowler hat. Can you explain the bowler hat? I'm curious here about because I'm not sure how that one fits in. I don't see that one as obviously. I want to see how your brain's working.
So some of this has been giving me kind of only bits and pieces a 1920s New York feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so just one random antagonist, because I don't necessarily want them to be evil. Their thing is a bowler hat. And if you happen to get hold of that hat, they owe you a favor. And so think kind of like a fey-like creature.
Okay.
Kind of like how if they get hold of a human's name, well, if you get hold of their hat, they're at your beck and call for a minute.
Random thought. This is the Fae thing just has me thinking about this. There's a weird thing that I've noticed has happened with a character I made. He's not Fae related at all, but he's a spy. And when he likes you, he asks, "What can I call you?" Because that's his way of saying, "I don't need to know your name. Just what can I call you that you like?" But if he doesn't like you, he wants to know your name. That way he can remember it.
That's so cool.
For reasons.
Yeah, and it was one of the things I didn't even realize was happening until I'd done it 5 or 6 times. Wishing Rock and a horseshoe.
Yeah. So are you guys familiar with, I actually have one sitting on my desk. So there's these rocks and they have like a white band of stone that runs around them. And if you find one where it's all the way around, supposedly if you pick it up, make a wish, throw it back in the sea, your wish will come true.
So
I love
I've
that.
never heard that, but I love it.
So yeah, there's a lot of old school fairy stuff going on, especially with the iron and the horseshoe.
Yes.
The salt is just a recurring ghost thing. So,
yep. But yeah, Fae again supposedly can't interact with cold iron.
Yeah, it'll burn them.
Except for gremlins.
Circle of Salt is supposed to be able to keep a spirit from a spirit or ghost can't cross the circle of salt.
Right.
Which could be really important if we have dangerous, angry spirits. Maybe you can contain them until they calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Or, keep yourself safe until they calm down.
So true. So true.
Yeah, like you could just be like randomly flinging salt outward is kind of like a component for a spell or something.
Yeah.
Like a defensive shield or something is facilitated by like throwing salt.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because it's an assault weapon.
Once again, the snipe. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I tried so hard not to make the joke. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's still good stuff. I love it.
Goodies are fun. I think these are all really neat. And I think that we can take these and kind of work with them. I don't know that we necessarily, again, we can probably skip voting if you're okay with that.
I am. Yeah, I am. Leaving that
Right.
here for now.
Yeah. I think there's cool stuff here to play with.
Okay, but I have to ask Will, 2 Brood of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
like that? What's the deal with that?
Is it like the chosen one eats the 2 brood, or like
it's like a magic potato, duh.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I couldn't think of anything. So I wrote that.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
It does happen sometimes. Yeah.
It's a mystery. The legend.
It's a briefcase that you never see the inside of. Yes.
MacGuffin. Oh.
Yeah.
You did mention that you throw something silly in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I do think, okay, so full disclosure, I do think that even in a kind of serious setting, you do need moments of levity.
For sure.
In one of my own worlds, which is this, very, it's this Pan-African world. It's everything it's a lot of stuff that I love and enjoy. But there is a tiny creature in it that I made a world building note that the critter some people tried to domesticate it, except it's a carnivorous rodent and it just kind of resists domestication, and the attempts were comically horrific.
Oh, no. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like you need bits of that.
Yeah.
So like I could see that being like a children's story, like a legend or a myth that kids in this world kind of tell on whatever the equivalent of a playground is.
Yes. Oh, I like that a lot. I think that's really fun. And you could do something like that with any of these as well. I think, what we end up using it'll be interesting, in terms of like playable items, but, we'll get to that in our next session, that we do for the High Priestess. So Em and I will be back, to come and basically turn all of this into game-specific rules and setting for Vi. I don't know if we're coming back right away. We'll be coming back pretty soon, to work on this. I think it's maybe not on the calendar yet, but we're going to get it there very soon. We had a couple of other sessions lined up where we have other collaborators planned, and so we kind of we're shifting the schedule a little bit to make sure that those can all happen when people are available. And so, but yeah, our plan is to come back to this pretty soon, because it's a lot of fun. This was a really, really neat realm that we put together here today, and I am just really excited to get it. Yeah, let's get some rules going. Let's understand how you can play something from here. Let's see some art about this. Yeah.
Images are already starting to float through my head.
Huzzah structure.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for coming today and for helping contribute to this. And I just love this process. I think it's a ton of fun, and you all have been phenomenal. Really appreciate you.
This has been some of the most fun I've had in a minute doing this. I love the way that you set this up. This is great.
I'm so glad.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Love it.
It's always it's always a blast working with y'all. It's just so much fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been such a uniquely cool experience to get other creative minds on the project, because once it's just me and Will, we have a very limited knowledge between the two of us and perspective between the two of us. So getting other people's time and energy and creativity and knowledge has been honestly priceless. And being able to involve the artist in that whole process so that they know the world just as well as we know the world has
so
been
cool.
really cool.
Yep. All right. Well, I think with that, we can. Does anybody have any last minute go here to find me's? We do those real fast. Erika?
Yeah, basically throw Kuta, Kuta Marler, Marler, in just about any social media search engine, and you'll find me there. Right now, I'm more active on Instagram and Facebook than anything else. Or the Adept Icarus Discord. I'm around there as well. And as always, thanks for having me. And this is always just so much fun.
So glad to have you. Thanks for mentioning the Discord. I'll put in case you aren't aware, we do have a Discord, and we work with people there. Sometimes we do events where we build stuff together for fun. So you're always welcome to join. It's open to anyone. We have a link on our website too, so you can find it there really easily. All right. And Aaron.
Hey, I am Aaron Radney. You can find me just about anywhere that they let me post art with that name. You can also find me on my website, aaronradney.com. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I spend a lot of time. I'm significantly on Twitter, significantly less, but you can find me there too. You can also find me on Patreon at patreon.com/Aaron Radney. And you can see, again, all of the world building stuff that I do on my own time in the project that I have been putting a lot of my life into for the last several years. I'm doing some stuff out there that I think is a lot of fun, and I hope if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy that too. But yeah, it was a blast to get to do this with you all and have some wonderful tangents on top of everything else. Forgive me, my Midwestern does come out in the tangents.
I love it.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah.
And M, I think, people, do they know where to find you at this point? They probably ought to.
I think they probably know. And Prama, Level 1 Geek, that's me. You can find me.
Yeah, and just look for Adept Icarus. That's where you'll find things related to this. Let's see. Do we wave awkwardly? We do. We wave very awkwardly until the stream actually ends. You're not waving awkwardly.
I was messaging cold. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, bye all. Thank you.
See.
Thank you.